The market is doing good, but is it doing a little too good? Let's talk about it on the weekly update.
Okay, friends, let's talk Make Speculation Great Again. Here's what you need to know. First up, the market is strong, but are certain elements of the market a little too strong? And here's what I mean by that. First, let's look at the good reasons why the market should be strong here. First one I can think of is now. Where we sit today is historically a strong time of the year. One of the reasons why I like to stay invested all the way through, and especially as we get towards the end of the year, one of the reasons why I like to stay put in my investments is that the end of the year tends to be one of the strongest times for the market. And especially if you compound that with some other things that are happening in the market right now. The market is up a ton, so tax loss selling volumes are probably going to be pretty light. There just isn't that much that went down, so there isn't that much to sell. We can look at other things, post-election. So we've got that post-election release that's happening that's lifting the market further. And you combined all of that with, hey, we're in November and December, which are great times of the year anyway. What I'm showing you here is the S&P 500 average performance per day. And as you get towards the end of November and you get towards the end of December, these are some of the strongest periods of the year for the market. So that's all good. That's great. The market is doing well. I think that is correct and what should be happening. And our plan is to hold as fast as we can in our investments and ride them through to the end of the year. Certainly not trying to generate any more taxable events this year as we get towards the end. But then there's something else that's going on that I think is maybe on a little less solid footing, and we have to talk about it because it's gotten big enough now. Let's talk about that speculation that's happening in the market, this sort of like fury that's happening. So we're going to look at a couple names, and we're just going to kind of see how they're doing. Several of these I bring up as sort of like poster child for speculation that's going on right now. Just know that I'm not making a value judgment on any of these things right now. All I'm saying is that it's happening. First up, of course, we've got MicroStrategy. So what is MicroStrategy? Well, MicroStrategy is essentially a Bitcoin holding vehicle. There is a little bit of consulting revenue that was, a small sort of like mid-pack company prior to becoming a Bitcoin trading vehicle. But I mean, if we look, this is a company with 467 million in sales, negative 400 million in net income. And currently the market has decided in its infinite wisdom that this company should be worth $85 billion, more than $85 billion. And if we looked at this maybe a couple trading sessions ago, we were probably looking at maybe 100 billion, if not more than that in market cap. So MicroStrategy, I think, shows it probably the best of there's just this speculative push that's in the market right now that's marking things higher. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know, but it's happening. What I think is most interesting about MicroStrategy is if you're buying this for Bitcoin exposure, it's actually a really bad way to get Bitcoin exposure. The amount of Bitcoin that they have on their balance sheet compared to what you're paying inside the stock, I think it's something like, if you buy this, maybe only about a third of MicroStrategy is actually the Bitcoin value, and the other 2/3 of its stock price is just premium. So you're just sort of like overpaying for Bitcoin exposure. There's all sorts of wonky finance reasons why this is happening, but I think more than just the wonky finance reasons, one of the reasons why it's happening is that speculation is starting to run rampant in this market. That's one of the things that we want to keep an eye on. So MicroStrategy, do I like it? Do I not like it? I don't know, but I do know it's going up, and I know that that's a speculative tell. Second, here's one that I've got a ton of inbound on, which is small modular reactors. So as the line of reasoning goes, we're going to have AI data centers everywhere, and they're going to draw a lot of power. And so nuclear is the only option. And we've got this new whiz-bang way of doing nuclear, which is small modular reactors. And so therefore, these guys are just going to own the space. And that might be true. That's a good narrative. Certainly the bedtime story that I tell my children at night is something like that. However, if we just catch ourselves up to reality right now, I don't think they've ever built one of these things. I don't think one has ever operated. I don't think we know what the business model is. And I don't think we know how much demand for these things there's actually going to be. So here's NuScale Power. This is one, if clients twist my arm and say, hey, I want some small modular reactors. This is the one that I typically recommend. But if you look at its sales, 7 million in sales. So these guys are not operating in any realistic way. This is probably like R&D revenue, right? Some little tests here and there, but this is not what running a nuclear reactor is actually going to look like from a sales standpoint. So they're not operating yet. They're getting ready to operate. They generate about negative $80 million a year in income. So this is losing money. And the market, in its infinite wisdom, has taken them from $7 a share up to over $30 a share and put a $7 billion market cap on it. Now, there's a lot of questions in this story. How profitable is it going to be to run these things? What are they actually going to charge for the power? What do the long-term maintenance sort of things look like from these things? None of this has been answered yet, but the market is just kind of like running away with it and saying, hey, these guys are the new kings. So this one also shows us very clearly, hey, there's some speculation going on here. I'll do another one. This was one that I thought was sort of dead back in 2021 in the froth there. Archer Aviation. So this is eVTOL aircraft. So vertical takeoff, sort of like the drones that you see kids flying around these days. Archer Aviation is going to make a big one, and people are going to ride in it, and they're going to pay to ride in it. And apparently it's going to be pretty valuable. But if we look at this company, they have no sales. So they aren't even operating in an R&D way yet. They're getting ready to operate. They generate about negative $500 million in net income. So they're burning cash and generating losses pretty significantly here. Currently, the market has them at about a $3.5 billion market cap. Again, I'm not making a value judgment here. I'm just saying that this exists. And so if you pair what's happening with MicroStrategy, with the nuclear reactors that don't operate yet, with the human drone delivery that doesn't operate yet, and you can see these stock charts and what they're doing right now, you can get a sense that there's some speculation going on here. And then finally, I'll pick, this is sort of like the granddaddy of the space stocks. So the space stocks are all going berserk right now. But the first one that really went was this company called AST Space Mobile. And this company is going to provide cell service using satellites. They're going to blanket the Earth in cell service. And, that's all well and good. They just don't have the satellites up there yet. They haven't even built the satellites yet. But eventually, in 2026, 2027, they're going to build the satellites and then launch them. And then it's going to, add it to your T-Mobile plan. And conceivably, a whole bunch of people are going to pay extra for this service. So that way they don't lose calls when they're out in the forest. And when that happens, potentially it's going to be worth a whole lot of money. And that may be true, but at least as of today, they have 2.5 million in sales, and this is primarily R&D tests going on with the government. They generate about 300 million in losses per year. That's their net income, and the market has given them about a $7 billion market cap, and it's taken them up. They've probably had, I don't know, how much of a run was that? Maybe a 10x run. So they went from maybe a $700 million company to a $7 billion company, maybe more than that. And so, AST Space Mobile is, well funded. There's a lot of companies that are putting a lot of money in here. They've also got some competition, though. There are already satellite phones. They already exist. And SpaceX, Starlink Cellular is coming as well. And so, this is another one, I think, that's just showing there's a lot of speculation in the market right now. So what does this all mean, right? Make speculation great again. Well, the market has really caught fire post-election, but some of the hottest sectors of this market are of what I might call dubious quality, if I'm being charitable here. I'm not passing a value judgment on any of this. It's only if it gets really extreme that I'll start to say, hey, this is getting dangerous. Be careful here. I'm just here to say that this is happening. And that if this continues, if we continue to see this low quality rally, what I can tell you is that froth can often lead to a painful market in the future. And that was clearly the lesson of 2021. And all of this is happening in the backdrop. The economic storm is still there. We just heard from Target about that, right? So yeah, that's where we're at. Holiday session, so I'm not surprised these things are happening. We're in the best span in terms of days for the market of the year. So it's right and correct that the market should rise here. We just want to be careful and not get too speculative. There you go. I'll see you this weekend for the markets review. Take care.
Okay, friends, that was the video. Hope you liked it. If you found it informative, good, entertaining, I'd love if you could scroll down here beneath the video and give me a like there. It helps us out with the algorithm. And then if you want to be notified first of anything new that we upload to the channel, if you come over here, click subscribe, you'll be the first to know as soon as we upload anything. Appreciate it. See you soon.